back to the Marquette County High School Football Preview Show presented by UP Catholic Credit Union, your home mortgage professionals. I'm now joined by Ishpeming football head coach Jeff Olson. Jeff, I'm sure you couldn't wait for the new season to start after everything that happened last year, decimated by injuries, the tragedy at the school. Can you have you been able to look back at it and think about what your team went through and maybe how you guys have grown after that?
Well, yeah, I mean, last year was something I've never experienced here. I've never seen it anywhere else, losing, down to 11 kids. After taking up 6 sophomores, that was a total of 22 kids, and we ended up losing 11, and not just injuries, major injuries. And then, of course, you had the tragic death. And, so there was a lot of things that came into play last year that don't usually happen. But you know what? Those are life lessons, and that's why we have athletics in schools, is to learn life lessons, to learn that, there's going to be adversity in your life. It's unavoidable. And you got to have different tools. So I hate saying last year was a great learning experience. It was life lessons for the kids, but it was. And, it's something that's hard to go through, and we put that behind us now. And now this is a brand new year. We're excited to get back on the field. The kids are excited, so we're looking for a good positive season this year.
Mm-hmm. And you also struggle with numbers even just to begin this season. Last year, this year your numbers are up. Why do you think that is? How could you assess the state of Ishpeming football?
I think it's just things go in cycles. I mean, even with all the success we had, over the years, we still had low numbers. It's just kind of the way things are. It's our society these days that a lot of kids aren't going out for sports. They're not doing extracurricular activities. They got a lot of other things. So, things go in cycles. Sometimes you're going to have those years where you're down. This year happens to be one of those years where a lot of kids wanted to play. We're at 28 kids. We haven't had that for a long time. So that's good to have. It makes practices a lot easier, a lot better. You're not doing damage control and trying to piecemeal things together. So, that part's good, and that part makes it even more exciting to get back on the field.
Last year, you told me at the beginning of last year that you were doing something you'd never done before, 2 quarterbacks sharing time. It ended up working out because you had the injuries. Now you just have one of them coming back in Gavin Sundberg. What do you expect from him making that jump this year?
Well, being a leader. He was a junior last year. He was just getting his feet wet doing it. And the other quarterback we had was a makeshift running back that we had to make into a quarterback. So we really feel we have a true quarterback this year that knows our offense, is versatile, can run, can throw. So, we're excited to have him leading our team.
Does that allow you to maybe open up the playbook a little bit more, or are we just going to see more of the traditional Ishpeming running the football?
Yeah, I don't know what you talk opening up the playbook for us, but yeah, we feel that he can throw, we can run, so we can do more things. And you can do that when you have an experienced quarterback coming back. So it makes it better for the kids because you can do more things, more different formations, different plays, and it's more fun for the coaches too because we can really add on to things that are in our playbook. But you never know, we may just go back to being our normal self and just running the footballs in between the tackles. So it's really based on the teams we play, on our personnel, and how things go.
I'm sure Hunter Smith would not mind if you just ran the ball every single time. First team running back. Tell us a little bit about what you're expecting from him this year.
Well, we're expecting, he's a good athlete, and he's fast, he's shifty, but we feel we have some good running backs. We have up to 5 running backs that we're confident that we can put in the game, and you have a Matt Trawick who only played a game and a half last year, who's a very good football player. He runs fast. He's he's shifty too. But then you have a Drake Sundberg who was doing phenomenal for us, a power runner. He's got speed, he can make cuts, but he likes to run people over. He likes to try to gain those extra 2 yards, wear the defense down. I coached his dad in 1996 and 97. He's a spitting image of him. He can run the ball. Gavin Sundberg, our quarterback, can run the ball. He's small but fast and shifty. And you have a Zach Jandro, who's a big kid that's got some ability too. So we feel we have 5 kids that we feel very confident can run the football.
Are there any new names that Ishpeming fans will be having to learn this year that you might expect to emerge?
No, the ones that I mentioned, and they're going to be, catching passes. The new names will be kids that we had last year but got injured early, like a Matt Trawick, like a Braden Arsenal, and Drake Sundberg only played half a season too. So those guys' names you'll hear a lot more because they're we're hoping they stay healthy.
Who do you expect to be the leader of the defense this year?
You look at a Drake Sundberg in the middle. You look at Logan Krulik, an Owen Morton and Tommy LaFave on our ends, and we hope our defensive backfield, returning kids from last year, returning goods athletes, Hunter Smith, Gavin Sundberg, and Matt Trawick, but they were hurt last year. So they're returning. They got good ability. They're kind of experienced, but I expect those guys to lead our defense.
Does it almost seem like in college where players take a redshirt year? Does it almost seem like that for some of these
kids?
Well,
it does, and because those kids I mentioned got hurt early, and Gavin played 2.5 games, Matt Trawick played 1.5 games. Like I said, Drake Sundberg played 4.5. I mean, that's not much playing time when you look at saying they're returning, they're experienced. They didn't get a whole lot of game time, but they're good athletes, they're good football players, and we expect a lot of them this year.
What has the offseason been like for your team? Have you changed any of the workout routines because of the injuries? What was it like?
No, they're doing what they normally do, and we had a good offseason. Not just the training part, the lifting and working hard and committing themselves. Our kids did a lot of community service this summer, and we put up and took down all the tents at the Food Fest and the 4th of July. We did the same thing here in Ishpeming for the Italian Fest, and then 11 of our kids volunteered with some other athletes from Ishpeming High School and went to Houghton for the relief project there and worked a day helping people with their houses and their yards there. So our kids did exactly what we wanted them to. They not only concentrated on football, but they did some community service and gave back.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking ahead to this season, new conference, basically the UP is kind of different with football this year. You're going to have a kind of a different schedule. What were your thoughts on the Westpac changes and how that's going to affect Ishpeming and kind of the other teams around the area?
Well, I thought it was great for UP football in general as a whole, and we're glad. We had a proud Mid-Penn conference for years. We would love to have kept that, but unfortunately, the way the numbers are these years, things had to change and things had to start combining because, it's very hard for us over the years to get 9 games. And then we had a situation this year where Iron Mountain at the end of the year, after some teams dropped them, we're only going to have 6 games. They were looking for 3 new games. Westwood had only 7 games. So for the Westpac to be willing to make a big conference, now everybody's assured of 9 games. I think it's great for UP football in general because everybody can go, fans can go see a game every weekend, whereas, it would have been really hard finding games. You might have had to travel in Wisconsin. We've had to travel in Wisconsin, lower Michigan, so it keeps everything centralized in the UP.
How healthy is UP football? We see, teams starting more and more thinking about the 8-man route. Mm-hmm. How healthy is it in terms of the numbers and what you think the future of it is?
Well, I think like I said, things go in cycles, and we're right now. Not as many kids, it's not just football, it's all sports. Not as many kids are going out and, for sports and committing themselves and learning about commitment and learning about discipline and resiliency and teamwork. And I'm hoping it's just the bottom of a cycle where it'll pick up, where people will find the importance of not only football but other sports and what the life lessons that it can teach and how you're going to better yourself as a person. So hopefully it'll start getting to the point where we have more participation, where we don't have to have as many 8-man teams, but the 11-man teams, we hope the numbers increase and it gets to as competitive as it used to be.
Before we let you go, Jeff, we have to ask about expectations. I'm pretty sure every coach is. After last year with who you're bringing back, how do you expect your team to fare in this new conference, and what kind of expectations do you put on the players?
Well, I know it's a cliche, you just want to get better every week, but you got to have goals, and you got to, and your first goal is a winning season. Second goal, you want to win the conference. Third goal, deep run in the playoffs, and then obviously a state championship. So we talk about all those goals, and we never we never not look at the ultimate goal that only one person, one team in your division gets to attain. But you got to think big, and if you want to win a state championship, you got to talk about it, and you got to prepare for it, because it's not just giving your best all the time. You got to be great, and you got to be the best team on the field. So that that's what we're striving for, to be the best team on the field every week, every game, and then with that, that's when the winning records come. That's when the conference championship comes, and hopefully in the end a state championship.
Well, Jeff, appreciate the time.
Thanks
for joining me.
Appreciate it.